Top and the Ball. A top and a ball were lying close together in a drawer among other playthings. Said the top to the ball, "Why should we not become bride and bridegroom, since we are both thrown so much together?" But the ball, who was made of Morocco leather, fancied herself a very fashionable young lady, and would not hear of such a proposal. The next day, the little boy whom the playthings belonged came to the drawer. He painted the top red and yellow and drove a brass nail through the middle of it. After that, he was glorious to see his top spin around. "Just look at me now," said the top to the ball. "What do you think of me? Why shouldn't we become husband and wife? We would suit each other so well. You can jump and I can spin, and it would be hard to find a couple happier than we should be." "That is what you think," said the ball. "But perhaps you do not know that my father and mother wore Morocco slippers, and that I have a cork in my body." "Well, yes, but I'm made of mahogany," returned the top. "The Lord Mayor himself made me with his own hands. He's got a lathe and took great pleasure in turning me." "Can I really believe that?" asked the ball. "May I never be whipped again if I uttered a lie," said the top solemnly. "You sound convincing," replied the ball, "but I'm afraid I am not really at liberty to get engaged to you. I am as good as betrothed to a young swallow. Whenever I fly up in the air, he puts his head out of his nest and asks, 'Will you marry me?' I have said yes to him in my heart, and that is almost as good as betrothal. But one thing I promise you, I will never forget you." "That will be of great use to me," said the top, and no more was he than said on the subject. The next day the ball was taken out. The top saw her fly like a bird into the air, so high that she could no longer be seen. She did come back again, but every time she touched the ground she sprang higher than before. Either her love for the young swallow or the cork she had in her body must have been the cause of this. The ninth time she did not return. The boy looked for her everywhere, but she had gone. "I can imagine where she is," said the top. "She's in the swallow's nest celebrating her wedding." The more the top thought of it, the more lovable did the ball appear to him. That she could not be his only made his love the more intense. Somebody else had been preferred to him. He could never forget that. And the top spun and hummed as he was thinking of the dear ball, who in his imagination grew more beautiful every moment. Thus passed several years, and there was within him an unbroken, constant love. The top now was no longer young. However, one fine day he was gilded all over. Never before had he looked so handsome. It had now become a golden top, and he spun around most sturdily, humming all the time. That indeed was an achievement. One fine day he sprang too high, and he was gone. They looked and looked for him everywhere, even in the cellar, but they could not find him. Where had he got to? He had jumped into a large basket full of all sorts of rubbish, and cabbage stalks, sweepings, ashes, dust, old paper, and dirt that had fallen down from the gutters. "Well, here I am now," he thought. "My gay gilding will soon be spoiled, and what sort of beggar folk can I have fallen in with?" And he peeped balefully at the long cabbage stalk which lay unpleasantly near him, and at the strange round thing, somewhat like an apple, like a very old, ugly apple. But the thing was not an apple. It was an old ball which had been lying in the gutter for several years, and was completely soaked through with water. "Oh, goodness, I've found an eagle with whom I can have a conversation," said the ball, looking fixed at the gilded top. "I am made of real Morocco leather and was sewn together by a young lady's delicate hands, and I have cork in my body, and I shall never again be noticed by anybody. I was on the point of marriage with a swallow when I fell into the gutter, and there I have lain for 5 long years, and now I am wet through and through. Only think what a wearisome thing for a young lady, a bride to be in such a situation." The top did not answer a single word. He thought of his long-lamented lady love, and the more he heard, the more certain he felt that this was she. The maid now came to turn the basket over. "Oh!" she exclaimed. "There is our good Top!" And the Top was taken back to the playroom. He was used and admired as before. No notice was taken of the ball, nor did the Top ever think again of his love for her. Such a feeling passes away when the object of one's love has been lying in the gutter for 5 years and has been soaked through with water.